recording. This is our June town hall. We're going to cover some vendors, some software vendors, some software solutions that are all about what we call expense management. We're going to get into what that means. But this is all about how you handled employee-initiated expenses in a way that streamlined, is mistake-proof, and is easy to manage for you and for your organization. There's some pretty cool softwares out there that are inexpensive, that integrate well with what you already have, and that can make this work, again, pretty easy, pretty streamlined, and eliminate some burden and some mistakes that we typically see. I want to provide just some reminders of where we've come for the last 4 months. So first 2 months of this year, we covered Microsoft 365, which is all about how you can increase productivity, increase efficiency, increase connectedness in your office when you have remote workers, hybrid workforce, whatever it may be. So I want to remind you that if you're not already using Microsoft 365, you have the option of getting 10 free premium grade licenses for your organization. Free is forever and always. There's no cost. It's not a promo deal for 12 months and then the price goes up. They're free for nonprofits. It's a nonprofit program. You can go to Microsoft.com/nonprofit to learn more about that. It's very straightforward to get access to that, and that gives you everything they have from Outlook, Excel, Word, all the things that we typically use. And then in addition to that, some of the other more niche programs that can serve your organization. So world-class software, accessible anywhere, anytime, and for free. I can't express that enough. Last couple months, we've covered Neon, who's one of M&A's affiliate partners, a really good affiliate partner of ours, and they have a CRM, a donor management system, which we covered a couple months ago. And then last month, we covered their, very briefly, we covered their web products, their donation platforms, and their email platforms, which collectively is what they call their generosity ecosystem. So it's your ability to reach out to donors through the web, through donation pages, through peer-to-peer donation platforms, from email marketing, and then manage all that through their CRM. Everything is integrated, so it becomes this nice integrated system where you can actually see and interact with your donors and see all those interactions in one place very holistically. So again, we've covered a couple different types of products for these past 4 months. One which was about internal office functioning, how to work with your employees and work with your workforce. Last couple of months is about how you work with your donors, your members, your partners, your stakeholders in your community. So those are two good solutions. We do have a partnership with Neon where anyone who signs, any M&A member who signs up to get the Neon CRM, get 60% off of the upfront implementation fees, which is a new product or a new discount that they've offered to M&A, starting this year. And that's a pretty steep discount. Those implementation fees can get expensive. It's kind of the barrier that they see for many organizations deciding to switch to a new product, is the time and money invested in just switching and getting off the ground. So they wanted to eliminate those barriers. So you get 60% off those implementation fees. And then the ongoing monthly subscription is pretty affordable as far as CRMs go. So make sure you avail yourself of that. You can go to M&A's website, go to our business to business directory, and find the contact for Neon and get connected if you would like. They're a great partner of ours and they'll take care of you, I'm certain of it. Today, we're going to talk about what I said is this event or expense management solutions. So there are 3 that we're going to cover: Expensify, Certify, and Raido. They're 3 very similar products. They function exactly the same way. They have very similar features. There's a couple bells and whistles that are different for each. These 3 have been ranked as sort of the industry leaders. You see the red circles at the bottom there. These were the 3 editors' choice from PC Mag regarding expense management solutions. So I try to pick 3 that lead the way and that have the best features, the best mix of features, affordability, accessibility, all of that. These were the 3 that they selected. We decided not to pick one over another. Today, we wanted to just cover 3 because they are so similar. We're going to try to hit on the core features that each of them have, the different bells and whistles that each of them have, and then sort of some of the thought process that you might want to go through to pick one over the other, knowing that you can't go wrong with either of these three solutions. They're all good. I will say too that none of these solutions that we're going to present have any kind of a nonprofit discount. It is what it is. Pricing is what it is. None of them have an affiliate relationship with M&A, but they're just sort of the leaders for this kind of a software across the country, across the world for what they do. So like I said, we're going to talk about core purpose, key features, key differences, pricing, next steps, and sort of give you the filter of how you make a decision over choosing one over the other and whether or not you need one of these solutions or not, and whether you're good with what you have. So what is expense management? Expense management, by definition, is the systems that are deployed by a business in order to process, pay, and audit or code employee-initiated expenses. So it's not for just maybe this the director, but for any employee who has to go out and buy something to carry out the mission or to do their job. There needs to be an expense management process that allows them to get that expense approved, get it spent, actually have the funds to do that, and then get it documented and coded and reimbursed if that's necessary on the back end. So we're talking about spending policies. How much can I spend? Where can I spend it? How does that process work? Is this within my budget? Do I have the money for this? Where does it get coded? Who needs to approve this? And then what kind of a time frame in order for this to happen? What kind of documentation is required to ensure that I'm doing this accurately and correctly? What kind of coding needs to happen on the back end to make sure that the right account gets charged so that I can see in my budget whether I'm on budget or over budget? What's the process for reimbursement, et cetera, et cetera. All those things that are bulleted there are what we would call busy work, right? They're necessary tools, they're absolutely necessary, but they are things that are added on to the process of actually going out and spending money and buying the thing that I need to buy to carry out the mission. It's busy work that's built into that again is necessary, but sometimes gets overly complicated. Sometimes is pretty informal, where people don't understand what the rules may be. And I've been on sort of both sides of that. I've seen some organizations where it's very informal, where they will say go out and spend what you need to spend, and then we'll get to the expense report when we get to it. And I've been on the other side where there's 5 forms and 3 signatures that you need to go out to buy a pencil. Those we see the spectrum. We run the gambit. Expense management solutions are designed to make that busy work as easy, as mistake-proof, and as streamlined as possible, so that that the organization can establish protocols and systems and policies that ensure that employees spend how they need to spend, and that's done in a correct and accurate way with the right approvals, and then quickly, efficiently, and again, mistake-proof, managed on the back end so that the right accounts are charged, the right departments are charged, and we can get a clean look at how we're doing compared to budget and funds available. So that, in a nutshell, is what expense management means. The solutions that we're going to look at today are pretty cool because they also bolt on to and integrate with the other systems that you already have. So all 3 options we're going to look at integrate beautifully with QuickBooks, which is the elephant in the room when it comes to nonprofit accounting solutions. So all the work that happens within this software gets integrated with QuickBooks so that you can see which accounts are being charged, which departments are being charged, et cetera. They also integrate with payroll systems. So if you're doing reimbursement, you can just run the reimbursement through this solution, through the system, integrate it with your payroll system, cut the check, or have it added to their paycheck every 2 weeks. They integrate with your accounts payable system. So if you need to pay off credit cards, if you need to cut invoices, cut checks to other organizations, to other vendors, that's possible. So it integrates with things like Bill.com. And lastly, which is a cool newer feature for those organizations out there who maybe do some level of travel, especially out of state, These solutions integrate with different travel vendors like Uber, like Lyft, like different platforms for booking flights and booking hotels, so that that process becomes automated and simplified as well. So there's a bunch of cool integrations that this one standalone product bolts onto and integrates with to make the more holistic picture easier to manage expenses for your organization. So for most of us, our current process for expense management, whether it's submitting receipts to document for my corporate credit card, or it's submitting receipts to being reimbursed for costs that I've incurred personally, the process probably looks something like this, where we have a pile of receipts that we accrue either while we're on the road, or we just let sit in our on our desk for a month or a month and a half or 2 months. Um, Eventually, we find enough time to key that into our expense report, into the spreadsheet. We staple it all together or clip it all together. We hand it to our accountant and say, here's my expense report. And then at some point, they either pay off that corporate credit card or they cut you a check to be reimbursed. Um, but that's probably what the process currently probably looks like for most organizations in some form or fashion and with some regularity or not. These expense management solutions, their core purpose, the thing that all of them do, there's three things that is just a core function that all of them have, both Expensify, Certify, and Raido. The first main purpose is that they all function based off of a mobile app that you put on your cell phone, and they allow you, right as you incur that expense that that's for the business, for the work, for the mission, they allow you to scan that, take a picture of it on your phone within the app, and that solution has what's called an OCR, an optical character recognition software built into it that looks at the text that's in that receipt, whether it's handwritten or not, and starts to make sense of what it is. So with a receipt from McDonald's, it'll say, I recognize this as a McDonald's receipt. I think this is food. And it starts right as you take that picture. It initiates that report. It starts to build all of those expenses right into the app with as much detail as it's able to find from the receipt. So it will say McDonald's, June 8th, $6. I think this is food, so I'm going to code it to that. And that just starts to get built right as you're moving along. This can work for your personal card, whether you're being reimbursed, or if it's within your corporate credit card system, and it's you're putting charges on a corporate card. It doesn't matter. You just take the picture. It stores it in the system. You're going to come back to it later, but it starts to build the report of all your expenses. So instead of having to keep receipts, put them in your pocket and hope they don't tear or get lost, you right in real time, you can take the picture, scan it, and forget about that receipt because it's now coded electronically. Like I said, as soon as you scan those receipts, it starts building that report based off of the expenses that are tied to those receipts. And right in real time, based off of whatever workflow you want to set up, you can have those approvals sent to your supervisor. So if you want every individual expense to go to your supervisor in real time, that can happen. If you want to wait and have it get batched and then sent at the end of the month as a whole report to your supervisor, that's fine too. The point is that everything becomes electronic now, and instead of having to wait, hold on to those receipts and wait until you get back to the office or you find time to key everything to your expense report. Everything's right there. Everyone can see in real time the expenses that are being incurred and for what purpose, just by taking a picture. Then on the back end, after you've been on the road for a week, you've taken all these pictures, you've got all these receipts scanned to your system, then you can come back in at month end when it's time to code everything and close out these reports and get them signed off on, and either trigger the payment of your corporate credit card or trigger a reimbursement check for yourself. You can also code all of these expenses to the right department, to the right account. You can split expenses and allocate 60% here, 40% here, whatever it might be. But that's all tied into your QuickBooks system, your accounting system, so that this system sees all of your departments, all of your cost centers, all of your accounts, and your employees can code all that, send it to your supervisor. Your supervisor can approve all of that. It goes into your accounting system to close out the month. It goes into your AP system if there are invoices that need to be triggered from any of this, and or a reimbursement request or whatever it might be, and it's done. And it's, for the most part, pretty mistake proof. It takes a lot of work to mess this up, but it's done, and you can move on. So you get timeliness, you get accuracy, you get efficiency, and you eliminate a lot of the mistakes and the time that happens by carrying around piles of receipts and expense reports. So like I said, this is the core purpose that each of these systems has, is this ability to scan the receipt, build the report, dump it into your accounting system, close it out, get it approved, move on. There are some bells and whistles and some features that are different for each of these systems that we're going to kind of walk through, that we'll see here. Again, all of these are web-based and app-based, meaning I can get access from anywhere. As long as I have the internet or self-service, I can access the app. I can go online and see all the charges, see all the expenses. They're subscription-based, as we'll see. So they are just like we're seeing for all of our other softwares we're using. You pay per user per month, a certain fee. So that fee builds the more employees that you have that are using this. And there are additional add-on features that do add to that price. So there's the base price, and then there's some things that add on to that. A cool thing that each of these solutions also has are the ability to build policies within the system that guide behavior based off of the financial policies that you have within your organization. So you can say you're not allowed to spend more than $50 on a meal, as an example. If I then take a picture of a receipt for $65 for a dinner for one person, it's going to flag that and say you're out of compliance within the policy. So you can set caps, you can set policies so that those get flagged if things go outside of that policy. You can also set up things like multi-level approvals, where maybe one supervisor needs to approve it immediately, but then at month end, the finance department needs to approve it. You've got this workflow set up for internal controls. You can set all that up. And again, all these solutions have these real-time dashboards. So even before the expenses get approved and submitted, just by taking the picture of the receipt and starting to accumulate all those transactions, you can get in real time a picture of spending by employee, by department, by organization, before anything is actually submitted at the end of the month. So it actually gives you kind of a read into spending, that you don't have to wait for the books to get closed for that month. Obviously, it's not holistic, it's not everything for your organization, and it's sort of the unofficial spending, but you can sort of get a picture of what's happening in literally in real time. So before I dive into just some of the key differences between the three solutions, Expensify, Certify, and Righty, are there any questions just about sort of what this solution is, how it integrates, what the purpose is, etc.? If so, feel free to, we've got a small enough group, feel free to unmute yourself and ask away.
Not from me, Adam. That's really
Okay.
a very, very helpful introduction. Thank you.
Perfect, thanks.
Yeah, I don't have any questions either.
Thanks, Emily. Okay. So the first one is Expensify. The cost runs anywhere from $5 to $10 per user per month. For most of us, for most of you, you're probably going to be closer to 10, because that's what gives you more of the bells and whistles. It gives you the ability to do approvals and some of the things that I think are pretty standard for a small business, a nonprofit, and how things function. So you're probably closer to $10 per month. I would count on that. It has all the core things that we just talked about that you're able to do. Some other features, it has some pretty cool ability to do rules, like I said, rules for expenses. So certain types of expenses you can build in workflows where certain things have caps, certain things are allowed, certain things are not allowed. There's rules about per diem, where if someone's traveling, they get you're already building in that they get $50 per day to travel with, and that just immediately and automatically gets built into their expense report as the days progress. The ability to automate policies. So you may want to say any expense under $10 doesn't need an approval by a manager. It can go straight to our accounting system. So you can automate that. So it's just going to bypass an approver, or an expense of a certain level gets approved by a director before it goes to the finance department. So you can set those workflows and policies. A really cool feature that Expensify has and Certify has, that I think is a nice thing, is the ability to do GPS mileage tracking. So you are able, if you're building a reimbursement report, to be able to put in mileage and to track, to establish the rate that you want for that mileage, whether 55 cents per mile or whatever it might be. And you can just, all these solutions have the ability to say, I'm starting in Helena, I'm going to Missoula, how many miles is that? And it'll do the math for you. Many of us, though, it's not just that straightforward. We're going to 5 different places before we leave town, and or we're doing things for the mission, for the organization, that isn't as straightforward as going from one location to the next. So for these solutions, you can actually turn the app on. Say you want to start mileage tracking based off of GPS. You can start and stop when you want to track. You can start it, start driving, when you're done, stop it, and it will calculate that mileage for you, the exact mileage that you've traveled. Uh, Multiply that by the per mile rate that you've already established for your organization, and give you the reimbursement that you're due for those miles that you put on. And again, it's automatic. You don't have to come back in and do the math of how long it takes me to travel from my house to the office, to the post office, to Target, to the caterer, to wherever it might be. It's done. I turn it on, I track, I turn it off, and that mileage and that reimbursement rate gets put into my reimbursement report, and we move on. Expensify also has some cool integrations with travel services like Uber, like Lyft, like a couple other hotel um, sites to book hotels. So if I travel, if I'm on the road, I can go through the app to book my Uber. That expense immediately comes back into the app as a charge. Immediately goes into my accounting system. I don't have to do any extra work. And there's some other integrations like that. Expensify also has the ability to do very simple invoicing. So this may not apply to many of us, but as an example, if you're going to charge a client for mileage, to say, I'm gonna travel to Missoula to do a training, and I'm gonna charge you per mile for that. You can turn this on when you leave town, turn it off when you get to Missoula. It will trigger an invoice and send that invoice to that client, to that customer, saying you owe M&A, you owe your organization $75 for travel. It's very simple. There's not robust invoicing, but there's a few invoicing options like that with Expensify. Certify is $8 per user per month flat fee. There is some additional charge if you wanted to add in an accounts payable system, which is pretty robust. Like, it's a full-on accounts payable system, and the charge is accordingly. We're not going to go into that today. It again has the core features that we already saw. It has the expense rules, the per diem rules, the ability to automate policies. One main thing that Certify has that's different from Expensify is they actually have a travel booking portal. So instead of you going out and booking your flight from delta.com and going out and booking a rental car from Enterprise and booking a hotel from Kayak or wherever you use that, they actually have their own portal there, which integrates with all the other travel booking portals out there in the world on the internet. But it's already built into your system. So as soon as I book that flight, it immediately books into my expense report, and that's done. As soon as I book my rental car, it comes back in, or the hotel, it immediately adds that to my expense report, either for reimbursement or if it's on my corporate card, just to be expensed and put into my accounting system. So it's all built in right there. I don't know cost wise, as far as, does that portal give you the best price on flights, the best price on rental cars? I'm not sure if that's the case, but they do have their own portal, which is pretty cool. Certify also does the GPS mileage tracking, which is a pretty cool feature, I think, especially for us here in Montana. Makes sense for us. And then they have the built-on accounts payable system, which allows you to actually build invoices, send invoices to clients at a pretty comprehensive level. And to pay invoices as well, both sides. So that's available to you with Certify. Raidu Again, these are all very similar systems. Raidu is anywhere from $7 to $9 a month. Again, kind of like Expensify, where you're probably going to be at $10 per month. Raidu, you're probably going to be at $9 per month to get the features that you think you want. But you can try it at 7 if you wanted to see how it works. It has all the core features we already talked about. It has expense rules, per diem rules. It has its own travel booking portal, just like Certify does. It actually has the ability to do pre-approvals for trips. So if an employee knows that they're going to be traveling, if they know they're going to need to book a flight, book a rental car, book a hotel, they can use the portal to book all that. But before it actually books, it goes to the supervisor saying, "Hey, Susie just put in a request to get a flight, a rental car, and a hotel for in 2 weeks down in Tampa, Florida. Is this approved?" And the supervisor can come in and approve that, and that's what triggers the portal to actually book those costs and charge the card. Raidu also has the ability to do cash advances, and has the ability to do a much more intricate job, a much more detailed job of cost allocations. So if you wanted to charge 60% of an expense report to a certain department and 40% to another, you can do that within Raidu. I'm not sure if you can do that with Certify or Expensify, but I know Raidu gives the ability to split expenses and allocate them to different cost centers accordingly as you see fit. So that was kind of that was a really high level overview of these three solutions, what they do, what are some core differences. Again, you can't, if this is something you think is worthwhile for your organization, you can't go wrong with any of the three. They're all kind of industry leaders. They will all do the job. There are, again, some just niche features that are different for each. Here's just sort of a quick table that gives you my opinion of a ranking from 1, 2 to 3 based off of some different parameters. So price, Expensify is the most expensive at $10 per user per month. Certify was the cheapest at $8 per user per month. Raidu was right in the middle at $9. Core functions, they all do the exact same thing and they do it well. In my reading and my research, the receipt scanner, the ability to take the picture and actually let the system automatically glean data from that. Expensify apparently has the best one. I read somewhere where it said if you've got a scribble on a piece of paper, Expensify will know what that is and do that accurately. Certify is right there too. I did read that the OCR scanner from Raidu is a little bit less powerful, meaning that you may have to come in and do a little bit of manual entry to fix 1 or 2 errors or some blank spots that the system didn't automatically catch when you took the picture. Regarding integrations, Expensify has the most out there. So if you're looking for something that integrates with a payroll system, integrates with your AP system, integrates with an accounting system other than QuickBooks, Expensify has all that. They've got a ton of integrations. Raidu has quite a few. Certify has the least, although Certify does integrate with QuickBooks, which is the big one. So as long as you're using QuickBooks, you're good. Travel booking, Expensify does not have a travel booking platform. Both Certify and Raidu do, and they both do fine on that. And then a cool feature that I saw that I think would be cool for us here in Montana and for nonprofit work in general is that GPS mileage tracker. Expensify and Certify have one, Raidu does not. So you're more than welcome to, I weighted these, and this is my own subjective opinion on these three solutions in my rankings, but you're more than welcome to weight these as you see fit to decide which one you would like to choose. Again, some of my summary: Expensify is best for large organizations, 25 employees or more. They have the most third-party integrations. That's why they're better for large organizations, because you're more likely to have more solutions that need to come together and talk to each other more. It does not have a travel booking platform. Certify seems like it's the most well-rounded and simple to use for just the general user on the street. It has the fewest third-party integrations, but it does integrate with QuickBooks. Raidu has no setup fee at all. It's free, just the monthly charge, and has the cheapest base price at $7. It does go up to $9 if you need to add features. It has the most travel integrations, but it does not have mileage tracking, and it has the least accurate scanner, picture taker, of the three. And there are other, I will say, there are other solutions that are out there. You just need to Google expense management solutions and you'll find a dozen more. These were just three industry leaders, three things that are easy to use. They're recognized by everything, they integrate with everything, they talk to everything. But there are others out there. And so this again, this is a quick overview. I would love in the near future if M&A could have an affiliate relationship with one of these three vendors, where we could provide some nonprofit pricing or some member pricing for our members to access these. We don't at the moment, but it's something that we're working on. It's in progress. Fingers crossed. Hopefully. Does that make sense to everyone? Are there any questions that you have or considerations that come to your mind?
You mentioned, Adam, that one of the programs has no setup fees. Do you have an indication about what a typical setup fee would be for the other two?
Yeah, that's a good question, Susan. I don't for Expensify and Certify. I think I saw that if you are, the setup fees come into play where if you wanted to integrate it with other systems. So the fee is in sort of getting things to talk to each other.
Yeah.
And the cost will go up the more integrations that you're trying to do.
Okay.
I think for the most part, you might be able to avoid setup fees altogether. I think I saw for Certify it was $1,500 to $1,800 to get it set up and moving initially to do all the integrations that you wanted to do. I would imagine Expensify is going to be somewhere in the same boat, but I don't know for certain. That's a really good question.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. You also do have the ability, I think, to so you have your users who are people that are out there that are scanning receipts, that have a corporate credit card, that are being reimbursed for expenses. Your accounting team is their users as well. I think all these solutions have the ability they have a discounted price or even a free price for approver only. So if you have a manager who doesn't have a corporate card or an accountant who doesn't have a corporate card, but they approve everything that comes in the door, like there's pricing for them because they're not a user of the system, they're just an approver. That's different. So you don't necessarily have to make all of your employees a user and pay the per user per month fee. There are some abilities to save money by having approvers only. Any other questions? Emily or Susan, anything else?
I didn't even really know there was such a type of system out there, so it's just learning for me today.
Good. Can I ask, what are you both currently using for expense management? I mean, is it just submit receipts, or do they not have the ability? Also, some organizations just they don't have the ability to purchase. It's all done centrally or by the director or by the director of finance.
All of my staff have their own company credit card, so they can make purchases that way. And then right now, because I don't have a finance person, I'm processing all of those.
Yeah. So this could save you some time, Emily. I mean, this would save you a lot of process time of having to get those receipts. If everything can just funnel to you, you approve it, and it's done.
I can believe it. We're just a small non-profit with not many staff, but the member of staff who was processing all this is just leaving. So I'm pausing and looking at her workload and thinking whether this kind of solution would save us some time and help automate some of our processes, which might then change some of our recruiting requirements.
Yeah, absolutely. That's good to know. I think next month, I tried to set up for this month, but I couldn't get it set up with them in time. I wanted to feature Bill.com, which you hear me mention a couple times in this, but that's an accounts payable platform where, again, it integrates with QuickBooks, but instead of you having to cut checks or send invoices or pay invoices, Bill.com is an electronic system that does that for you, and it integrates with QuickBooks and also integrates with these solutions that we just looked at today. So in a pretty automated fashion, you can have that vendor send checks to your vendors, receive monies, etc. So again, anything we can do to streamline the human resources you need to put into accounting and managing money, I think is a good solution. So that's something we're going to try to get someone from Bill.com to feature that next month.
Helpful to know. Thanks, Adam.
So that'd be really helpful, because everybody I've ever talked to about taking over our financial piece says, do you have Bill.com? You should really get Bill.com.
Yeah, yep, exactly. They're kind of the elephant in the room when it comes to that kind of a thing. They do a good job, so we're trying to get them lined up. Cool. Anything else? Thank you, ladies, for being here. And I will, we're recording, so this is gonna get sent out to the group. And next week from today, we'll regather for whoever's interested, just to, again, ask questions, see if there's any more information that we can provide. So it's kind of a second chance to ask what may have come to mind for you between now and then, and learn anything else that you need to learn. So we'll be back on here, and we'll be with you for as short or as long as is needed.
Great. Thank you for the information.
All right. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks, Susan.
Adam.
Yep.
Right.
We'll see you soon.
Thanks.